Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation Policies and Procedures training class hosted by Lifespan Faith Development. All individuals engaged in ongoing work with minors at UUC are required to complete this training prior to beginning a volunteer assignment. The policies that we will be covering can be found on the UUC website in the members area, in the document library, and on the Lifespan Faith Development page. You will be given a printed copy of these policies at your orientation session. Within the UUC Policy and Procedures Manual is a section called the Child Abuse Prevention Policy. In accordance with this policy, all adults engaged in ongoing work with minors must pass both background and reference checks. No person with a criminal background will be allowed to work with minors at UUC. Your background check is good for 3 years.
Background checks are not required for parents assisting in their child's program as requested or required, or for one-time volunteers as long as a background check person is also in attendance. UUC employs a 2-adult rule that states that 2 adults should remain with children at all times. This policy exists to protect students from abuse and to protect teachers and advisors from false accusations of abuse. All classes or meetings should have a minimum of 2 adults in attendance. You should avoid situations in which you are alone with a child, and you should not be alone with a child in a room with a closed door. Teen assistants may walk with a child to a restroom, but should wait for the student outside of bathroom doors. If you are transporting a child who is not your own, you must have the express permission of the child's parent or guardian. One of the most convenient ways to obtain permission is to ask for an email from the parent prior to transporting the child. The windows and the doors of classrooms and meeting rooms must remain unobstructed at all times. The Director of Lifespan Faith Development or the minister may visit a classroom or meeting room with no notice. Parents and guardians are welcome to observe, but are encouraged to avoid interrupting classes and meetings. As a teacher or advisor, you are in a position to observe potential signs of child abuse. If you suspect child abuse, you are strongly encouraged to make a report to the Department of Social Services or to Blacksburg Police within 72 hours. Regardless of whether or not you have made a report, you must also report your suspicions immediately to the Director of Lifespan Faith Development, the minister, or the President of the Board. If you feel unable to make a report to the Department of Social Services or police yourself, the minister or Director of Lifespan Faith Development will make the report for you. Both the minister and the Director of Lifespan Faith Development are mandatory reporters. No person suspected of child abuse will be permitted to have any contact with children or youth until the allegation is resolved.
UUC also has in place a policy about managing convicted sex offenders who may attend church services or activities. If you become aware that a convicted sex offender is attending church, you should immediately notify the minister or Director of Lifespan Faith Development. At that point, the steps of the UUC policy will be followed, and the person will not be allowed to have any contact with children or youth at UUC. The person will be asked to sign a limited access agreement. You can read more about this policy in the UUC Policy and Procedures Manual under Managing Convicted Sex Offenders.
In addition to the UUC policies that govern all individuals working with minors, there are also a few policies put into place by Lifespan Faith Development that all teachers and advisors must follow. A very important policy involves offering food in classrooms and meetings. You will be provided a list of allergies in your group at the beginning of the year. When planning to bring food, please refer to this list and try to avoid foods that children in your group are allergic to. Because we have a high incidence of food allergies, we have a policy that prohibits parents or other outsiders from bringing in food unless it is coordinated in advance with the teacher or advisor or with the Director of Lifespan Faith Development. The provision of food at your class or meeting is at your own discretion. Both UUC and our tenant Children's Garden have a high incidence of children with nut allergies. Some of these allergies are very serious and can be triggered by the child touching residue left on a table. Because of this, we have a mandatory no nut policy downstairs. When bringing food, be sure to carefully inspect all prepared food and ingredients to be certain that no ingredient has been processed in a facility that also processes nuts. For most food items, there is a brand that is acceptable, so if you need assistance, ask the Director of Lifespan Faith Development. The no nut policy applies to all classes and meetings held in downstairs rooms. If you are holding a meeting upstairs, The inclusion of nuts is at your own discretion and contingent on the absence of nut allergies within your group. All teachers, advisors, and members of a Lifespan Faith Development Committee are expected to participate in a covenant of confidentiality. All information concerning children is confidential, including but not limited to medical conditions, learning or developmental disabilities, or discipline issues. Information is confidential regardless of the forum in which it is shared. For classes and meetings held in downstairs classrooms, no open flames may be used downstairs. Please use an LED candle or chalice alternative instead. Use of a real candle and flame in classes and meetings held in rooms upstairs, including the middle school Sunday morning RE class, is at the discretion of the lead teacher or advisor. For both levels, no smoking of any kind is allowed, including sage or incense. In all policies, the goal of UUC is to affirm our 7 UU principles. Classes and youth groups will create their own covenants of behavior at the beginning of each year. In addition to these group covenants, there are a few behavior rules that apply to all groups. Children and youth must ask and be granted permission by an adult LFD volunteer or the DLFD before leaving the classroom or meeting space during LFD program time. Supplies and property must be respected and not wasted or destroyed. Everyone waits their turn to speak, and everyone cleans up their own messes. Finally, disparaging comments and put-downs will not be tolerated. Students are encouraged to recognize and resist stereotypes and biases and to challenge prejudice. In addition, there are 4 types of behavior, often referred to as the Big Four, that are prohibited during all UUC-sanctioned LFD activities. Sexualized behavior of any kind, possession and/or use of drugs and alcohol, all forms of violence, including physical, verbal, sexual, and otherwise, and weapons. Because children, youth, and adults are at different stages of development, we recognize that reasonable expectations of their accountability and responsibility are also different. The LFD program expects all participants at all ages and stages and in all roles to covenant with each other and to model our UU principles consistent with their developmental stage. There are craft supplies for use by any Lifespan Faith Development class or group located in the downstairs Lifespan Faith Development supply closet. If you have leftover supplies from a project, please leave those supplies in this closet. Each classroom and youth group also has a cabinet for their use to store supplies for their particular class or group. A list of supplies will be available online at the beginning of the year in the Members section of the UUC website. Please do not purchase additional items for your class or group without first checking with the Director of Lifespan Faith Development. Our tenant Children's Garden has a wide variety of toys and supplies in the downstairs classrooms. UUC classes are welcome to use items belonging to Children's Garden as long as they are treated with respect. If an item is covered, it means the Children's Garden prefers that we not use it. Non-reusable items such as craft supplies should never be used. Always use our own craft supplies instead. Children's Garden organizes their items in zones within the room. Please return all items to the same zone in which they were found. No item belonging to Children's Garden may be removed from the premises. If an item belonging to Children's Garden is damaged or broken, please notify the Director of Lifespan Faith Development immediately so that it may be replaced. When Sunday morning classes end, the method of releasing the child varies depending on the age of the child. If the child is in pre-K through grade 3, a parent or guardian must pick up the child before a child will be released. If the child is in grade 4 or older, the child may wait in the downstairs RE lobby if they're in a classroom downstairs, or may wait in ELARTH if they are in a classroom upstairs. No child may exit the building without the permission of their parent or guardian. Once the parent or guardian retrieves the child from your classroom, your responsibility is over. The child may play alone on the playground if the parent gives permission. The parent is responsible for the child as soon as they pick up the child from class. If class ends and a parent is slow to retrieve a child, inform the Director of Lifespan Faith Development and she will find the parent. There are 4 doors downstairs that lead to the outside. One is off the lobby, 2 are located in classrooms, and 1 is at the end of the far hallway. These doors should remain locked during class times. If you would like to make use of the outdoor classroom or other areas outside for your class, you may sign out a key at the downstairs Lifespan Faith Development office. Other than during class, doors may be unlocked at the discretion of the Director of Lifespan Faith Development. The Director of Lifespan Faith Development will lock outside doors at the conclusion of RE without notice to parents or guardians. Should an accident occur during your classroom meeting, please fill out an accident report and leave it in the Director of Lifespan Faith Development's office or mailbox. Accident reports are kept in the downstairs RE office in the sorter near the door. Should a substitute be required for a class or meeting, you should attempt to find a substitute first from your group of team members. If none are available to substitute, contact the Director of Lifespan Faith Development, who will provide a list of approved substitutes. If none of those substitutes are available, it is acceptable to use a parent of a child in your class or youth group as a one-time volunteer. For Sunday morning RE teachers, you may also use a teen assistant as the second adult in the room if there are no more than 2 children present, and with the approval of the Director of Lifespan Faith Development. Classes and youth groups preparing to take an off-site field trip should be sure to review the policies in the manual prior to going off-site. You must have a minimum of 2 approved volunteers chaperoning all off-site activities. The adult-to-youth ratio should never be less than 1 adult per 7 youth. And all adult leaders must be at least 21 years old. Drivers of youth must be previously certified as approved drivers. You will be given a list of approved drivers at the beginning of the year. The list will also be maintained on the Lifespan Faith Development page of the Members section of the UUC website. 2 drivers per car are required for some trips. There are additional policies concerning drivers in the policy manual, and you should review these prior to the field trip. For all off-site activities, parents must complete a permission form. We have included a permission form with registration this year that covers all off-site activities. If you are sponsoring a field trip and need to certify additional members as approved drivers, it will be easiest to certify those individuals that have already completed background checks. A list of people with background checks will be available online. If your potential driver already has a background check completed, they must simply provide their car make and license number, along with copies of a valid driver's license and insurance card, to either the Director of Lifespan Faith Development or the administrator. The person will then be certified as an approved driver. When showing movies to youth groups and classes, the movie selected should be respectful and inclusive to all. All groups should make the effort to select movies that are in accordance with our UU principles. Movies are chosen by the group viewing the movie and approved by the committee that oversees the group. Wire UU movies are approved by YAC, middle school youth group movies are approved by the Children's RE Committee, OWL movies are approved by the OWL Committee, and movies shown in RE classes are approved by the DLFD. It is important to keep parents informed of movie choices in advance of the showing. Whenever possible, we also provide a link for a movie review from the Parents Guide at www.imdb.com. No R-rated movies will be shown to middle school youth group. Middle school youth group advisors should choose a movie with unrestricted access such as G, PG, and PG-13. Wire UU and OWL will be required to seek permission from their overseeing committee and the DLFD before showing an R-rated movie. Efforts should first be made to acquire a suitable movie with a lower rating to ensure inclusion of all youth. Before approving an R-rated movie, committee members and the DLFD will view the movie to determine the appropriateness of youth viewing. No youth will be required to view a chosen film. Parents will be required to sign a permission form for any R-rated movie shown. When scheduled, lock-ins will be considered a part of the LFD program and will be planned to promote the mission of the LFD group. The primary goal when conducting a lock-in must be the safety and well-being of our youth. During a lock-in, all LFD and UUC policies remain in effect. Lock-ins may only occur on UUC premises and will be held on Friday evening through Saturday morning. Permission forms from parents are required for youth to attend. Under no circumstances should a lock-in be broadcast on the UUC website, UUC Facebook page, Twitter, or any other digital or printed media that would advertise the presence of youth locked in the building to the general public. The lock-in may be advertised on the closed Wire UU Facebook page. The Wire UU Facebook page is closed and open only to Wire UU members, Wire UU advisors, YAC, and staff. Parental permission is required for participation in Facebook and for permission for advisors to text youth directly. This permission is granted during the registration process. Wire UU members may be contacted directly if parental permission has been granted, but middle school youth group members should be contacted through their parents. Although it is permissible to inform the congregation that lock-ins and cons occur during the year, logistical information about these events is restricted to the closed Wire UU Facebook page or direct contact with parents and/or youth. You will be able to ask further questions about our policies at your orientation meeting. During the year, as you have questions, you may ask the Director of Lifespan Faith Development for guidance or refer to the information located on our website. The Lifespan Faith Development link on the members section of uucnrv.org will be a one-stop shopping experience for all your needs as a teacher or advisor in the Lifespan Faith Development program. This concludes UUC policy training for Lifespan Faith Development. Thank you for volunteering as a teacher or advisor.